Alright, guys, you can stop bombarding me with comments about it. I am here to do my Twin Peaks character tier list as requested by so many of you in the comments of the latest video. So, you know what? I'm here to appease all those and give you my accurate, 100% true Twin Peaks character rankings. Right at the bat, gonna do some easy S tiers. Laura Palmer. Man, I love her. What a tragic, flawed human being, portrayed so beautifully by Cheryl Lee, and explored with so much depth through both the show and the feature film Fire Walk with Me. Next easy S tier is Cooper. Where is he? Season 3 Cooper. I like him a little less than season 1 and 2 Cooper, but he's still very interesting, and his journey is obviously what the return is about. Season 1 Cooper, Season 1 2 Cooper, great character, super charismatic, super energetic, played wonderfully by the beautiful Kyle MacLachlan. What else we got here? This guy, I don't really care. He's not really explored much in depth. He's very pompous. He's somewhat interesting on screen, but not a character that really sticks with me. Bobby? Bobby's A tier. Love Bobby, especially the pivot his character takes in the return. He learns from his mistakes and he grows into a better, heroic human being. Maddie's also A. She's played great by Cheryl Lee, but since she's meant to be a parallel for Laura, her character really isn't explored much in depth, though she is involved in like the 4 greatest episodes of TV I've ever seen. Truman? This one's interesting. I'm going to put him in IA for now. He may end up being an S tier character. The only problem is his lack of presence in the return. He was replaced by Robert Forster as his brother, which, great performance, great actor. But man, I really wish we got to see him in the return. And we need a new tier because this fucking guy right here, Leo. Awful shithead of a character. Obviously, that's the point. You're supposed to hate him. But with other characters in the show, they at least have an arc. Even if you're meant to hate them, they are explored with depth and nuance. Leo's just a shithead from beginning to end. He doesn't change. He doesn't improve. He's just awful. Controversial pick. Dougie's A tier, not S tier. Dougie's great. I love him. His antics are great. Obviously, the casino, hello, all that. But there's just not enough to him to really put him in S tier. But again, I still love the character. Love all the fun moments we have with him. Low-key, don't remember her name. That probably means she's D tier. These, they're fun. They're fun background characters to Mitchum Brothers scenes, but not really explored much. Probably B tier. Probably no. High B for now. High B for now. Her character is explored a lot, especially through like the antics with her ex-husband, but she's not my favorite double R employee. But she's still great. Very obviously very beautiful character. She's great. She's a very kind lady. But just again, not much to sustain her for me. Audrey. If it wasn't for the return, Audrey would be A tier. But I love what Lynch and Sherilyn Fenn did with the character in the return. I think her arc is super interesting, and throughout like half of the return, the main question on your mind is, where is Audrey? What's going on with her? And once she shows up, it hits you like a nail. And you get to explore her character, what's been going on with her, which is a lot. There's a lot of shitty things going on with her. In the final scene with her in the Roadhouse, oh man, that is good. I don't know his name. I'll be honest, don't know his name. If I don't know your name, honestly, you're probably a D tier. I don't hate him. Obviously, he's a shithead. Unlike Leo, though, he at least has an arc. He at least has some reason for being a shithead. Holy, this guy is an S tier. This guy is easy S tier. Agent Rosenfield. Oh my god. Miguel Ferrer is a great underrated actor. I love that he got more spotlight in The Return. There's a lot of scenes with him in it, and he kills everyone. I love the interactions between him and Truman. I love the interaction between him and Cooper, where he kind of treats Cooper like a dumbass, even though he respects Cooper a lot. He knows that he's a smart guy, but he is a nice foil to him. Catherine Martell, high C, high C. The Asian cosplaying was a little weird. That's a little weird, a little problematic maybe now. Not that I necessarily care that much, but can't really be putting them in B tier if they're a little problematic of a character, you know? I'll make the rules. Andy, high A tier. Andy's high A tier. He's great. He serves as great comic relief, and then in The Return, he becomes much more than the comic relief. He becomes a well-respected person. His character is explored much further than it was in the original series. Not to say in the original series he was kind of a background player. He was still very prominent. Still a lot of great moments, but The Return really elevated his character a lot. This one's controversial. This is going to be a controversial pick. I think Annie is B tier. Not necessarily for the character herself, although I love Heather Graham. I think her performance is great. Again, that's kind of a controversial thing to say, but I do really like her performance. I think the main reason she's so high up is because she provides more depth to Cooper's character. We learn through, it's mentioned earlier on in the series when he's talking to Audrey, but through her, we kind of learn more about his background, his trauma, why he does what he does, and why he wants to protect people. So not necessarily a B tier character for herself, but what she does to the cast around her. Benjamin Horne, probably a B tier. He's got some interesting antics. The whole scene where Leland comes in, starts singing, and him and his brother start dancing is great. That's Twin Peaks distilled down to one scene. A little bit of a shithead, doing some stuff he probably shouldn't be doing, but I think he's interesting enough. He's played well by the actor. He interacts with a lot of the cast, which is neat. A lot of these characters are kind of isolated. They don't really interact with most of the town, but Ben interacts with pretty much everyone. So we get to see how he treats other people, how he interacts with them, how he feels about them. So he's an interesting character from that aspect. The Arm. The Arm is interesting. The Arm is an interesting character. Not one I necessarily care for. He's obviously important because he's one of the few entities, characters that exist between the Black Lodge and, you know, the human world, the real world. He's just the least interesting, like, between, like, the Man with Another Place, Black Lodge version of Laura, Black Lodge version of Cooper, Leland, etc. He's just the least interesting of the bunch, so probably C tier, honestly. Pete Martell is my guy, honestly. Played by Jack Nance, a David Lynch regular. Played Jack in Eraserhead. Or not Jack, Henry, sorry. Henry in Eraserhead. So he's been around a while, rest in peace. But he's a fun character. He's a fun character, and obviously he is the one who kickstarts the events of the series. Mr. C. Mr. C's up there. He's definitely high A tier. Exists purely as a complete contrast to Cooper, which honestly makes you appreciate Cooper more for just how bright he is as a human being. Big Ed's cool. I like Big Ed a lot. I honestly love all the Bookhouse Boys. Not much to say on him, but his interactions with Nadine are really funny. You can tell he's just tired of this shit. Interaction with the Bookhouse Boys are great. Obviously, when they go to One-Eyed Jacks, a really good character. Solid A tier. Bob. Bob is S tier. Bob is S tier. He's one of the... Sorry for the interruption. Anyways, like I was saying, Bob is a terrifying character. He's one of my favorite antagonists in a television show. He is really the biggest aspect of horror Twin Peaks has. He is this just supernatural, super malevolent force of just pure evil that's not confined to the laws of our natural world. He can do whatever the hell he wants, and he is evil. He's played great by Frank Silva, who's not even traditionally an actor. He's a set designer. Lynch saw this guy and said, "Do you want to be the embodiment of literal evil?" And he was like, "Sure." And he plays it great. Mitchum Brothers, I'll go ahead and put both in there. No, don't want you, Donna. Where's the other one? There he is. They're both great. They're really fun aspects of the return. They're really fun characters. Their interactions with Dougie, and then once they finally get to meet the real Cooper, their interactions with him are great. They help him out a lot. They're, shitty movie Las Vegas gangsters, but they're played really well and they're really fun. Donna's kind of C tier. I don't really like Donna. Nothing necessarily wrong with her, but like the other people here, she's just kind of bland. There's not really much to say. The show doesn't give her much to do. She's more interesting in the film Fire Walk with Me. I think her character's explored better there because you see more of the Laura Donna dynamic, but in general, she's just not really interesting to me, and she didn't even appear in the return, so there's nothing to do with her there. This is not the Giant. What is his name? I don't remember his name, but he's a nice supporting cast. Whenever he shows up, shit's about to go down, and just nice character. Okay, this one, honestly, for how non-problematic this interpretation of a transgender character for the 1990s, B tier. Character doesn't show up much. Has a nice little brief appearance in our turn, which is great, but just for how progressive this character was without necessarily making fun of the character, solid B tier. James is F tier. He's better than Leo though. He's so uninteresting. His song that he sings is miserable. Worst part of the series. Same with his arc where he's going out and exploring the world in second season of Twin Peaks. Honestly, just skip through that. Shelley's daughter, blanking on the name. Not a fan. She's just kind of a shithead. She's a shithead because of the situation she lives in, that she's put in, but I still don't really like her as a character. Shelley, though, I love Shelley. She's great. Put her next to Bobby. There we go. That works out well. Madchen Almick plays her super well. She's great in the return. You see a lot of her and Bobby's dynamic. And obviously she's in a real shitty situation with Leo, and she tries to get out of it. She does some things. She's a super compelling character. There's a lot. The show does a lot with her. She's definitely one of the bigger supporting aspects of the show, obviously because of her relationship to Bobby and Leo. I like her a lot. I think she's probably my favorite Double R staff member. Gordon Cole, played by Mr. Lynch himself. Honestly, probably an S tier. He's not in the original series a lot. He appears in Fire Walk with Me briefly, but he's a major part in the return. And even with that little screen time he has in the original series, he's fantastic. Lynch brings his eccentricity that he has when it comes to directing and writing and shovels it all into actually playing a character. He's loud, he's bombastic, he's goofy, he's great. He's Lynch personified as a character. Naomi Watts. If this was the Mulholland Drive character, it'd be S tier. But she, high B. You can tell that she's tired of dealing with Dougie's shit. That this has just been that way a while. Again, not necessarily a ton is done with her to justify any higher placement. She's not super compelling. Again, she just kind of serves as a foil to Dougie. That's really all her purpose is. And she does it well. Naomi Watts plays the part well. And again, like I said, you can tell that she's tired. She is done dealing with Dougie. But there's just not enough there to justify her as her own character. Dr. Hayward, I really like this guy. I really, really like this guy. He's not a major player in the original series. Honestly, we're going to put these guys up a little bit. He's not a major player, so I can't really put him too high. But he's just a kind, gentle old guy who obviously feels and mourns the death of Laura. Lucy's great. Lucy's great. Probably an S tier. Probably an S tier because throughout the original series, she's obviously a klutz. She doesn't really know what she's doing. Not that she doesn't know what she's doing. She knows what she's doing, and when it's important, when the scenes show it, she's fantastic. Like the one scene where, I forgot who's talking, but she figures out that, oh, this might be important, and she actually records the conversation because two people are talking in front of her, and it's like, oh, she's an idiot. This doesn't matter. We can talk about this in front of her. But she records it, and she helps them all during the case. So she's a fun character. Great foil to Andy. Their chemistry is great. Honestly, her chemistry with the entire Twin Peaks Sheriff Department is great. But Andy and Lucy are very special. Their scenes are fantastic. Leland. This is going to piss some people off. I already know it. Twin Peaks community, I'm sorry. For how shitty this guy is, he is in S tier. Mostly because of Ray Wise's fantastic performance. And big contrast to Leo, he has an actual arc. He is an awful, deplorable human being, but he has an arc. His not final appearance in the show, he appears in the Black Lodge, but his final episode where he's like a main recurring star, and he's flooded with all the memories of what he did, the trauma that came with it. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And in Fire Walk With Me, the shit he does is horrific, obviously. Despicable human being. But man, Ray Wise plays it so well. He plays it so straight. He doesn't ham it up. He says, this guy is sick, and I'm going to show you why. Great character. Sarah Palmer. If it wasn't for the return, honestly, C tier character. But because of what was done with her character in the return, I'd probably bump her to high B. She's far more interesting there as the last remaining member of the Palmer family. She's lived with this guilt, this trauma, mourning them for the last 25 years, and it really shows. She is not in a good place. She is miserable, and in some aspects, she has some connection to the Black Lodge. There is a little bit of Judy inside of her, which is great. I love that reveal. I said this guy was the arm. I'm stupid. This is the arm. Sorry. Honestly, probably high C. He's an interesting character. He's interesting. Most of the Black Lodge entities honestly don't do it for me. Besides Bob, obviously, Bob is great. But the problem is there's just not a lot done with the characters. They are strictly confined to the Black Lodge elements of the show. So the only people they really interact with are Cooper. So I can't really judge them well because there's not much to say about them. This guy, I don't even know his name. He's not really super relevant in the show. D tier. I don't hate him, but I just don't really know him. David Bowie. He's a teapot in the return. That is very funny. This guy's B tier. The other Horn. I really like what they did with him in the return. You spend the whole runtime in the return saying, oh, this is not going to amount to anything. He's just a goofball, high off his mind in the weed. But then he stumbles upon Mr. C, and it is terrifying. It is terrifying. Low B, probably. This shithead. F tier. I hate that motherfucker. Hawk? He's up there with Truman. He's a great character, especially in the return when they kind of, eased off the like Native American stereotypes. They made him his own fleshed out character, uh, separated from the whole like superstitious aspect of his character. You know, he's becoming sheriff. He's a very skilled detective, sheriff, etc. And his interactions with Catherine Coulson, the log lady, are beautiful. They are beautiful. They are some of the most touching aspects of the series in The Return. Um, and they get to me. They really do. Um, Dougie's kid, I feel bad because he is a literal 8-year-old. He is actually a child, but man, I do not give a shit about him. Nothing is really done with him. Dr. Jacoby, a real slimy human being. He really is just a slime greaseball of a human being. He is very compelling to watch on screen, though. He, as with all these characters, he has his own unique quirks. He's super compelling to watch. He's such a greasy slime ball, and the actor clearly know that, and he hams it up. He's great, and his old gimmick in The Return is a very needed commentary on political eccentricity in the United States. So Josie, she is a doorknob. She becomes a doorknob. Probably a B tier. She did shoot Agent Cooper though, so honestly that makes her C tier because she hurt my guy. Log Lady. Log Lady is S tier. She's up there too. She's one of the most iconic aspects of the show. And based on her merit in the show alone in the original series, probably A tier, but what they did with her character in The Return is absolutely fantastic. Her actress was dying, so in the series, she is dying as well. Her last scenes were filmed maybe 10-20 days before she passed away, and her whole arc in The Return is coming to terms with the fact that she is going to die. Her last phone call with Hawk it's beautiful. It's so sad. It's so heartbreaking, and that last goodnight hits really hard after you spent the last, 25 years watching this goofy, quirky character, and then seeing her come to terms with her own life and death, her own mortality it is beautiful and sad at the same time. This motherfucker is F tier. I don't give a fuck about him. Harry Dean Stanton. I love Harry Dean Stanton. One of my favorite actors. Great character actor. Does not do much in both Fire Walk with Me and The Return. He didn't have to. He doesn't. Not every character has to be super plot relevant. David Lynch just loved working with Harry Dean Stanton. So he wanted to throw him in. Probably B tier. I mean, purely because of Harry Dean Stanton and his performance. He's great in everything, and he's certainly great in this. The Giant, also known as the Fireman in The Return. Kind of same with this guy right here, this bro. Once you see this guy, you know shit's getting real. And I think that does a lot for his character. He appears at the most pivotal moments in the series, especially the It Is Happening Again, when the killer is revealed, which is probably my favorite scene from the whole show, one of my favorite scenes in TV, period. A big, dominating force, obviously played by like a, 7'3" actor. He's great. He's good. B tier. Oh, what is his name? What is his name? The Agoraphobe. A very tragic character. A very tragic character indeed. His scenes with Laura in Fire Walk with Me honestly stay with me a lot. They're both terrified. They're both scared. They don't know what is going on. And his scenes in the original series and his unfortunate death have a big impact on the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department and the people investigating the case. Doesn't have a ton of screen time, but his presence is definitely remembered. Probably B tier. Nadine, man, I don't know if this is a controversial pick or not. Nadine is intentionally, and excuse my flowery language here, bitchy. She's a bitch. That's kind of her whole thing. Ed is clearly done with her, which is fine. Probably a B tier because of that. Her antics are so wildly stupid and make sense only to her. So that's her little quirk. But the whole cheerleader thing, man, when she like forgets who she is and thinks she's still in high school, I did not like that subplot. That's probably a C tier. Diane. Now this is Tulpa Diane, but I'm just gonna say it's both characters together. Diane's great. It was great to finally see her in the return. She was this unseen force, almost seen. She was like 3 inches or 3 feet away from the camera in a deleted Fire Walk With Me scene when Cooper's talking to her. But she, even without ever appearing in the show, in the original series, she has a presence. All these tapes Cooper is taking, recording himself, is for Diane. And obviously played by the fantastic Laura Dern. I don't think anyone else could play this character. Laura Dern and David Lynch go way back, and it makes sense to tie it all together. Make her Diane. She is probably honestly an A tier, both from her performance in the return, her importance to it, and the whole thing with the twist of her being a Tulpa, not the real Diane finally being released, but also just for her presence in the original series. Even if she wasn't a physical character, we never saw her until the return. Major Briggs, this guy is S tier. He's very important to the return, even if the actor is long dead. He kind of sets forth all the events in motion of the return through like his research and all that stuff Cooper talks about. But the biggest takeaway for me is, he's just a great character, but one of my favorite scenes in the whole show is when he is talking to Bobby in the diner about his dreams and how much he loves Bobby, how much he loves his wife, and how he wants his son to be a good person. I think it is beautiful. The actor, I don't know the actor's name, plays it beautifully, and is such a sweet sentimental moment, and he's such a sweet sentimental character. Kind of leaving on a wet fart, bro. Windom Earle, probably C tier. It's interesting to explore a character from Cooper's past. This is really the first time we had done that, besides brief appearances by Gordon Cole and Rosenfield, but he's not super compelling to me. The scene where he's wearing the horse costume, shoots Major Briggs, is funny. It's goofy. He just doesn't seem that important. Again, he's a character from that second half of season 2, where the show was kind of losing track of what it is. Lynch wasn't on board, so there's a lot of subplots that don't really matter, and in some aspects, I think Earle kind of is lumped in with that. He doesn't really matter. He doesn't do much for the show, but yeah, this is a pretty decent ranking, I think. Since you guys have been hounding me in the comments, I saw there were like hundreds of them in the last video, but hope you guys are appeased for this. Yell at me in the comments if I am wrong. I don't think I am. This is my tier list. I think it's pretty fire. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah.